You will now practice and review Chapter 2, Inequalities. We will both solve and graph. Number 1, negative 5x minus 4 is less than 11. Remember, first solve it, and then you will graph these on the number line. Pause the video here. You should have first added 4, giving you negative 5x is less than 15. Now you're going to divide by negative 5. Remember, when you divide by a negative to isolate a variable, you have to flip the sign. So now x becomes greater than negative 3. To graph this on the number line, you have negative 3 as your solution with an open circle, all solutions pointing to the right. Number 2. Equations or inequalities with variables on both sides. 5 times the quantity 4 plus x is less than 3 times the quantity 2 plus x. Pause the video here. You should have first distributed, getting 20 plus 5x is less than 6 plus 3x. Now you can move the smaller variable over to one side, giving you 20 plus 2x is less than 6. Subtract 20 on both sides, 2x is less than negative 14. And finally, divide by 2, x is less than negative 7. On the number line, negative 7 is your solution, but is not part of your solution, so you have an open circle with everything to the left. Number 3. Now you have a compound inequality. Remember, these are connected by and or. Because this one is connected by or, you have to solve both of these separately. And remember, your solution set are going in opposite ways on the number line. So, in the first inequality, I would add 5 to both sides, and in the second, add 2 to both sides. You would have negative 2a is less than 0, or 3a is greater than or equal to 3. When you divide on both inequalities, you get a is less than 0, or a is greater than or equal to 1. As you can see on the number line, everything less than 0 and everything including greater than 1. Number 4. This is an and inequality. You know that because of the way it's written. So remember, start with the middle, and you are going to subtract 3 from all 3 sides. So you get negative 8 is less than or equal to 2x, which is less than 6. Now you can divide by 2 on all sides, and you get negative 4 is less than or equal to x, which is less than 3. As you can see on the number line, x is everything greater than and including negative 4, while x is also everything less than 3, and so these solutions meet. Absolute value inequalities. Let's take a look. You have x minus 8, the absolute value of it, plus 5 is greater than or equal to 11. Well, remember, you first want to decide something. It's greater than 11 or equal to, so we know that it's an or inequality. You can't start solving these things until you isolate the absolute value signs first. Pause the video here. You should have first subtracted 5 to get the absolute value by itself, and you have the absolute value of x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 6. Because you have a positive solution, you know that absolute value is always positive, so now you can keep going. Let's split this up into 2. We have x minus 8 is greater than or equal to 6, or x minus 8 is less than or equal to negative 6. Remember, flip the sign and set to a negative solution. You end up getting x is greater than or equal to 14, or x is less than or equal to 2. And finally, let's look at one last problem. Something a little trickier. So absolute value of x minus 4 plus 3 is less than negative 8. So I know this would be an and inequality because it's less than. so it would come together on the graph. I need to first isolate the absolute value signs before I make any decisions. Pause the video here. You should have subtracted 3, getting the absolute value of x minus 4 is less than negative 11. Well, how can the absolute value, which is always positive, be less than a negative? There is absolutely no solution here. If you had, for instance, the absolute value of x minus 4 is greater than negative 11, then we would say all solutions, because everything in absolute value is positive, it would always be greater than a negative. The only time you keep going is like in the last problem, where the absolute value was something greater than or less than a positive. Now you'll log into Google Classroom to master your particular section.